Amateur Hour, Episode 5. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's just down to the gruesome twosome again. Everyone else
Gruesome
is just
twosome. Gruesome twosome.
out,
Fuck yes. If you haven't watched us do the gruesome twosome before and you haven't seen Always Sunny, go check it out.
Yeah,
we are the Danny and Charlie of the group.
What a ringing endorsement that is to be the Danny DeVito and Charlie of a podcast.
Hell yes. I can play either role, so I'll let you even pick which one you want to be.
I think you look more like Danny DeVito with the. I think it's the glasses that tips you over the edge. So
the glasses, the short round figure. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I say we're gonna have to play Nightcrawlers or whatever the hell the game that they play is.
This is very true. We do have to do that at some point, I guess.
Oh, shit. So, well, we appreciate everyone joining us live or listen to us on the podcast. Joe, you want to hit them with the socials quick?
Yep, I'm just getting ready to post something on Facebook for us. But yeah, you can find us on Facebook. Just search Pulse of the Heartland. Same thing with YouTube. If you're watching us live, you've already found us, but go ahead and tell your friends where they can find us too. We're going to have a lot more videos and stuff coming up as the New Year's come in. Happy New Year, everybody. I haven't been able to be on a podcast yet, so we'll get that baby going. But yeah, look for more videos and stuff on our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter at Heartland Pulse. And then, as always, our home for all of our blogs and all of our videos and stuff, our partners in crime, the In the Zone media group. You can find us in the zone.studio.
Joy, I said do it quick. That took way too long.
Hey, man, I've been listening to you guys run through it super fast the last few podcasts. I figured I better do it right. This was my job to begin with. I don't want to lose it.
Well, I can appreciate it, man. Well, let's hop to it. And this is what I'm worried about because all my trivia questions have been football. I don't know if I'm going to be as creative when it comes to college basketball or wrestling, but we're kind of getting to the bottom of the barrel here.
I feel like with basketball and wrestling, there's got to be more stats because there's more teams and more flukiness with the NCAA tournaments. But yeah, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there after next Monday night. And just so everyone knows, that I don't know if you were going to announce this or not, but I'll go ahead and do it. We are going to do another live video on Sunday evening. We'll set the time later in the week, but that will be our championship game preview for the week. We want to do something a little bit earlier, not give you something right at 10 minutes before the game started or whatnot. So we figured Sunday night, it may be just us two again, and maybe all of us, but we'll do something real quick for you guys, 10 to 30 minutes, and give you our picks and predictions for the big game on Monday.
Who would have thought a 15-minute prediction pod 10 minutes before the game didn't do so well?
Yeah, weird.
So, well, this will kind of get us into the pod here and get to our first subject. But since World War II, Joey, how many Big Ten teams have won 8+ games while averaging less than 18 points per game?
There's got to be one.
Well, at least one, yeah. But there's more.
Has Iowa done it multiple times?
No, surprisingly.
Wow. All right. Iowa. I really feel like Wisconsin has to be up there too. I'm going to go the total number of 4.
You were close. David said 6. It was 5. You guys were right around it.
Nice.
The 61 Minnesota Gophers, 63 Fighting Illini, the 67 Hoosiers, the 67 Gophers, and then the 2022 Iowa Hawkeyes. Yeah.
Wow. 45-year difference. Jesus.
Yeah. What a crowd to be with.
Wait, no, that's 55 years. I can't even do math right.
I didn't want to correct it to add to how bad that stat is, but
oh Lord, that is atrocious. God, that sucks so bad.
But the good thing is you won your bowl game on Saturday. Iowa shut out Kentucky 21-0.
Yep, I know I've been pretty pessimistic most of the year with how bad the offense is and how things just weren't going to go well in this bowl game, knowing with Levis out and then us having to rely on our third string quarterback and then also a bunch of transfers that already transferred out. But defense, as always, 2 pick sixes looked fucking amazing. They were real damn good. We'll get this later, but I'm going to miss some of the guys that are leaving for the NFL. But yeah, kudos to you guys. Thanks for the good memories and everything. And the offense didn't look totally terrible, but I don't think Kentucky's got the best defense in the world either. So that could go with it too.
No, I would say I'll be honest. I slept in a little bit on Saturday, and by the time I got up, already 21-0, and I missed everything that was important in that game. So
damn, yeah, I had audits last Saturday. Audit season's over. Everyone passed. Thank God. I'm so fucking happy. I can get back to regular scheduled programming for the next 10 months, and then do it all over again next year. But yeah, I was up at 5 a.m. doing audit stuff, and then got back and started watching the game, and not gonna lie, fell asleep mid third quarter and woke up and they were celebrating. I was like, oh, cool. Score didn't change. I didn't miss anything.
Joey Labas, quarterback of the future.
Should Cade McNamara. Nah. Labas looked good. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, he might be. Maybe after Cade McNamara. But you don't throw that kind of NIL money and get that big of a transfer in to let him sit on the bench.
Yeah.
Who is he? The Jimmy G of college football?
I mean, he could be. You never know.
That's true.
So, but we'll kind of, I would say, unless there's anything more on Iowa here, I forgot to throw this up right beforehand, the conference records so far. So no one really has a spectacular, no one's undefeated so far, but the most wins right now is the SEC. They have 6 wins in the bowl season, but they're 6-5, roughly 500. The best record right now is the MAC. They're 4-2. They have a 66% winning percentage, but that's the highest. Usually there's one conference that kind of goes above and beyond, but I guess when the Pac-12 doesn't lose every single game, everyone kind of evened out this in this postseason. Big 12 pass, other than TCU.
And 2 of the Big Ten's losses came from the college football playoff, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, I think the Big Ten was 5-0 going into or 5-0 or 5-1 going into the college
5-1 because Illinois lost to Mississippi State, and then Ohio State and Michigan games.
Yep, and then Penn State.
Yep. Oh, and Penn State, yeah. So 4-1, I guess, going into the weekend.
Which was also, I guess, a hell of a game. I got back last night and just kind of hung out with Rochelle and her daughter, so I didn't really watch much football. But supposedly that was another great game.
Yeah, the Penn State one, I kind of caught the end of it as well. But yeah, it was a it was a pretty good game. I wish when we get to it, the one thing I'll complain about is Utah always looks awesome when they put the rose on their uniform. I always hate when Penn State, they have to be very traditional and they only will they will only have their own uniforms. They don't change anything other than the small patch. There's no Penn State with the rose on it or anything. I always think that looks cool.
Yep, them and Alabama, neither one will do anything different than just their original uniforms. So, yeah, I agree. I like tradition. I don't like a ton of different uniforms and stuff. I do think if you're good at it, fucking go for it. Like look at Oregon, look at Louisville. When they go for it, they go for it. Even Maryland, with the Under Armour backing and everything, it looks cool. There's some schools that try and do way too much, but. Yeah, I do wish some schools like Penn State and Alabama would just jump in a little more.
Hey, give me like 2 minutes here. I cannot figure out what the hell's going on if I got music playing in the other room or if my neighbors are playing it that loud I can hear it from my room. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Here. All right. Well, I'll keep it rolling, baby. We had 2 big, massive college football playoff games with TCU versus Michigan and Georgia, Ohio State. If anyone jumped in on the TCU Michigan stuff, that game was bonkers from the beginning. I know Brian's thrown up a graphic.
Did it look like this?
Yes, the entire time. And I was by myself in my hotel room. I know we were going back and forth on the Discord channel and stuff, and it was insane. Every single time you thought one team was just down and out, they just came right back. It was awesome. I do want to put this out there. I think the refs were fucking terrible the whole entire game for both sides. I thought the TCU game or the TCU touchdown should have counted at the beginning. I thought the pass interference that TCU got on McCarthy was bullshit to keep that drive going. And then the targeting penalty at the end was also
penalty at the end.
Exactly. It's just bullshit. I mean, they called that same goddamn play in the Kansas game. So
Yep.
yeah.
No,
But
I don't know what the hell happened. My Alexa just started playing country music loud enough from the other room somehow that I don't know what was going on. But
was it Shania?
yeah, not even Shania. I would be happy if it was Shania
Oh
Twain, but no.
man.
I mean that was one of those games where you know me, Joy. I'm a little conservative. Like in game, I will only talk shit once I'm like comfortably we've got this. I think at one point we were up by 2.5 scores, and Michigan was just flailing. And I go, oh, that's power Big 12, baby. Stop the count, And I honestly went and got some groceries in the middle of the game because I was like, this game's over, whatever. And then I missed the most chaotic third quarter I've ever. Rewatching the highlights and stuff. And man, that was just they finally. And we'll talk about the Georgia Ohio State. We finally got good playoff games, and
Right.
people will say that. Well, this is why we needed to stick with 4 because now the transfer portal, now there's parity. No, this is not the transfer portal and parity. This is one coach that out schemed and out coached another. With Sonny Dykes out coaching Jim Harbaugh, but I guess I always forget until they lose again. Dude, Jim Harbaugh has like one of the worst postseason records, and I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't actually know if it's his. I mean, obviously he has to take blame for part of it at least, but his teams just never. They always peak at the Ohio State game. It seems like, well, the last 2 years anyway, and then it's like they forget. And I mentioned this in our group chat. Like, why did they go away from the run so fast? That is their bread and butter. That is their pound them, get them tired type of thing. I know they were down 2 scores at one point, but still, like, you still got to just pound the ball if that's your identity. It's weird.
If you're Michigan, this isn't you're just right now. You've built yourself to the Ohio State, the Georgia, the Alabama, the LSU level where you don't rebuild, you just reload. I don't care if Blake Corum wasn't starting. You have plenty of 4 and 5 star players behind that you shouldn't have any trouble running because you also have an all-star line. I mean, that was one thing that I think what I think the narrative was flipped. Everyone before this game, Joey, I know you were, and I think I was kind of leaning towards you as well. Is they're going to play Michigan's game. Michigan is going to out physical them. Even if it gets into the second half, they will finally out physical them, and TCU won't be able to stand it with the 3-3-5. Well, now all of a sudden, and it's kind of funny looking back at these interviews, that defensive player for Michigan going, well, oh, it's TCU there. What conference they in? Oh, Big 12? Oh, okay, sure, whatever. And then J.J. McCarthy making fun of the 3-3-5. You can't make fun of a defense about how you're going to tear them apart and then don't tear them apart and throw 2 pick sixes. I mean, that is I do think it's kind of funny because like everyone had the Stephon Diggs, J.J. McCarthy, where he's standing there with his helmet behind his back, taking in the moment, and they go, he's going to come back. I go, no, he's probably standing there thinking, that would be me if I didn't fucking throw 2 pick sixes. I don't think, I mean, I've never, I guess I never get the notion of I have to watch them celebrate to be pissed. Whenever I lose, I'm pissed to the max anyways. I guess, I don't know. Maybe I'm just the most competitive person out there. I don't know, Joey.
I don't know either, but yeah, I think McCarthy is going to be good. I said this again. I keep saying that I said this already, but I did say last week that Michigan was going to, out physical them and that they had tackles for guards and that line was going to take over. I was dead ass wrong. And kudos to TCU. I should have said that at the very beginning of this segment that TCU deserved to win that fucking game. They played their asses off and made Michigan play their game. Also, kudos to Michigan. That tells you how good of a fucking team they are. Playing a game that they are not used to playing, don't even think about playing that style, and they almost pulled away with a win.
Yeah, they give 14 points to TCU, and that's where with the referee thing, we're kind of in the agreement now, Joey. That's kind of loser talk. That's little brother talk on blaming the referees. And I think it was in the moment. I'm always going to let them have their excuses. But I think when Michigan fans finally came away with it, a couple days later, they're going, well, referees didn't throw 2 pick sixes. Well, referees didn't didn't make us play or throw certain calls. Referees didn't make us do the worst Philly special you've ever seen. I mean, That's so played out that
Right.
I mean everyone knows that trick play's coming. So
Yep. Yeah, I know you mentioned that to me in the group chat that that's loser talk, and I'm like, I'm not openly cheering for either team. This is a
yeah.
genuine observation. Those refs were fucking terrible.
Like I've said, everyone's beaten into me that I can't keep complaining about referees as Iowa State fans. So I've gotten away from it. And then when everyone comes back, I go, nope, that's loser talk. We've discussed this. So
it's only loser talk if you use it to make excuses on why you lost.
yeah, true. No, and it's like, okay, well, you lost in the the playoffs. No one's gonna get mad at you too bad, but
Right.
the duality of the Big Ten here, Joey. I found this tweet. Today in the Big Ten, Michigan had 527 yards and 45 points in a loss. Iowa had 206 yards and 0 third down conversions in a 21-point win. That is just Big Ten to a T right there, dude.
Oh my god, yeah, it shows the difference in the West versus East. I mean, it's just how it is. So,
yeah. Just the philosophies right there, man.
Exactly. So we apologies to anyone watching this live. We didn't change the title. I just fixed that for us, so we're good to go now.
Title? No, I fixed. Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough if it.
Oh shit! This is what happens when both of us are trying to host. My bad.
Yeah, no, we should be fine on that. But
okay,
we'll go on to the next game. Another that was 2 playoff games determined by 7 points. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a couple playoff games where it was 4 scores, in one game. So it was refreshing to have not only this game, Georgia 42, Ohio State 41, but a lot of great games this weekend. We'll get to a couple of them here in a little bit, but yeah, man, this Georgia Ohio State game, this was the this was CJ balling out, Marvin Harrison Jr. balling out before he got did they end up calling that a targeting?
Believe they didn't. I believe they left it on the field.
Okay, I thought so as well. And I think that's another one where I think we're getting too much into the angles now. And when you slow down every hit in football, everything looks that much worse. That one, I think,
even if you hit someone with your shoulder, at some point your head's going to make contact with their body. Yeah. I mean, that's just the nature of
because
how things work.
I mean, exactly. It's physics. Let's see. Your shoulder hits my chest. My head is going to move forward due to momentum, and then now head to head. I mean,
right.
I've really started to hate these. We just need to have a rule, and I almost think the rule needs to be you only get like a couple replays of slow motion, and then everything else has to be in regular speed. Mm-hmm. I think they need to speed it up, and they need to. This offseason, they really need to figure out what is targeting, and they need to have the incidental or the accidental. I think it's incidental is what I'm trying to say. Hit 5 yards first down or whatever, and then the 15 yards intentional malicious intent, and then first down ejection type. Yep. There needs to be a discrepancy where this isn't completely affecting every game.
Yep, there should be varying degrees, just like there is with is it targeting face in mask. The NFL that has face masks? Yeah, face masks that has varying degrees. It should be that way for literally every penalty.
He only half held 5 yards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you are literally grabbing them and holding on to them for dear life, yeah, that's a 10-yard hold. If you are glancing by and you just like barely touch them, but it's still holding, yeah, that's 5-yard hold.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously so much of that is tough to see in the moment, but there needs to be some incidental contact and stuff. But yeah, back to the Georgia game here. I mean, both of them, there's not one player that you could really say had a bad game. I think both of them kind of played perfect games. I know Stetson had an interception, but I mean, when you're passing that many times, just for comparison, oh my goodness, I didn't know it was this identical. CJ Stroud, 23 of 34, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns. Stetson Bennett, 23 of 34, 398 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception.
Damn.
So, I mean, it was just one of those. Both of them played how they need to. They played their Heisman level, and I can't remember who I was listening to. They might have been part of my take, but it's just like, CJ Stroud played well, but then, Stetson had his legendary moment. That's where
Right.
he might potentially be one of the few quarterbacks to ever win 2 national championships, let alone in a row. Now you can make the Jimmy G, Alex Smith argument. You have the talent around them, so that makes them look good. But guy did what he needed to in this game, dude. Almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. You can't say that he didn't ball out. So
Yep.
yeah, it's crazy. He's going to win 2 national championships and barely made it to a Heisman finalist. So yeah,
and everyone said he didn't even belong. So
hands up. I said it. I said it last week. Yep.
I will be 100% honest as well. I was starting to really I don't. He's not my favorite either. We're just giving him enough. But I hate he did like a celebration where he did a mic drop and he did like a duck face or like the one they always show the.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yep.
you're 25, dude. You can legally run a car. You don't get to talk shit when you have when you do have all this talent around you. If you would have done it in this game, yeah, ball out, man. This is playoffs. You put it out, but it's like he's doing that shit when it's like you're beating Missouri. No, sorry, man. Yeah, just
there are like 8 quarterbacks in the NFL starting that are younger than you. So
yeah, I would say not all of them are great, but there's still a lot of them that are younger than you.
No, and I don't know. Like we talked about JJ McCarthy and stuff, and talking shit about the 3-3-5, and I know Joe Burrow brought in the Joe Coolness to college football, and I pretty sure even you thought he was cool when he was at LSU smoking the cigars and stuff. But fucking everyone's trying to do that now. Like, get your own thing.
Yeah, and guess what? I understand, and that's. It's 2 things. One, yeah, when he was at LSU, I thought he was cool, and then when he was a Bengal, he can go fuck himself. But
exactly,
because I'm a bitter Chiefs fan. 0-3
exactly.
versus the fucker. So, but fuck, what was I gonna say? But yeah, now like he doesn't own cigar smoking after a big win. That's just kind of sports in general. How many people in the early days? But he kind of did bring it back. How often before Joe that you can remember? That was like, oh yeah, I remember when he smoked a cigar. It's basically Alabama, Tennessee in the 3rd week in October, I think is the name of the rivalry. And that's it. Everyone remembers the stadium when you saw cigar smoke floating above it. That's the only other time when you can think of cigars. Otherwise, he's the one that does it. I think Spencer Rattler tried to smoke a cigar after a game once when they beat Tennessee, and it just everyone's trying to be the next Joe Cool, and it's like your name's Stetson Bennett the 4th. Sit this one out. You just embrace who you are. Just be done with it.
He has to be in a fraternity, right? Like
he's got that frat type of face, dude.
Yeah, and this is coming from a guy that was in a fraternity.
Yeah, so you can talk shit about it.
Yep. Oh yeah, he is. Oh nope, he's just a major in economics. Okay.
Well, that's kind of nerdy. Yeah, you don't get to talk shit, drop and then talk about the price floor and a price ceiling and fucking the equilibrium of supply and demand. Get out of here, you fucking dweeb.
Yep. Oh wait. He's in Sigma Nu. He's in the Mu chapter of Sigma Nu.
Yeah, I Sigma knew it.
Yeah, I mean, first reported here. This is just a article that came up, so that could be a lie too. But
yeah, probably months ago that we
right.
You heard it here first, folks. So, yeah, I mean, again, another great one. It was. I'm surprised no one came out with the title. Ruggles struggles with the kicker that missed that long field goal. Yeah. I have been loving all of these TikToks because these spoiled Ohio State fans, Ryan Day included, born on 3rd, thinks he hit a triple. I have loved every single TikTok. 10, 9, we're going to go into the new year with the win because you just win all the time. And then you fucking shit the bed and you miss a kick. Like, and you're going, yeah, you're bitter. Yeah, I am, because my team does this all the time. It's the first time you can think of an Ohio State game where it's come down to a kicker, let alone their kicker misses the kick. It's like, just have an ounce of reality. This is what everyone deals with. Iowa's had this happen to them. Iowa State's had it happen to them plenty. The Falcons, the Chiefs, everyone, except for Ohio State, it never misses those kicks. So it was good seeing some Ohio State fans that got, we didn't win? Oh, we snuck into the playoffs and didn't win with this field goal? It felt good.
I am so glad that both games were so good because, yes, you could say they snuck into the playoffs, but they deserve to be there. Look at the game they played against Georgia. I mean, they definitely deserve to be in there.
They put up a good loss.
Yeah, exactly. Had a chance to win at the end.
I'm just saying the only time they won a national championship was another spot that they stole from TCU. So it feels good for TCU to go into the national championship and for Ohio State to be sitting home again.
Right. Yeah, so. I like it.
But anyways, going on to the next game, Georgia starts off as a 13.5-point favorite versus TCU. Over under 64.5 points. It is next Monday at 6:30 on ESPN. What do you think on this line, Joey?
Man, that's for the way TCU played Michigan, that's a big line. And the way as close as the Georgia Ohio State game, man, that's a big ass line. I bet that's got to get closer before game time. The over under, that's only 32 points per team. We saw what they can do in these other two games. So Georgia's, I mean, we'll break this down more. Georgia's defense is really, really fucking good. So I could see that over under basically. But yeah, that 13.5, that's going to be.
Right now, I'm feeling very confident TCU plus 13.5. They've come back in every game. I'm not saying TCU wins this one, but after seeing what they do with a physical line like Michigan, which again, is this Michigan dwindling in the playoffs due to Harbaugh again? Which, how does it happen between the regular season, such a strong line, and then they piss it down their leg again? But TCU plus 13.5 feels like free money.
Yeah, and so someone else brought this up. I can't remember which game it is, and I'm glad you said something about the difference between regular season and playoff.
Yeah.
So, if for anyone that hasn't read it yet, in the article that I have on In the Zone, I break down why there should be less bowl games and how it should go to eight win teams instead of 6 teams. Blah blah blah. And there end up being like 22 bowl games overall. Well, if you play that first round of the 12-team playoff when it comes out, then you could do that after 2 weeks and then do the next ones and the next ones. And so I think the larger our playoffs get, the less time in between is going to be, you're not going to have that month and a half layoff almost sometimes. So I'm looking forward to see how that plays out in the future, because who knows? Maybe it was just complacency during practices. I know Kirk has struggled at times getting teams prepped and ready for bowl games and stuff like that. It's a different animal. So, I'll be interested to see if when they move the games closer, because they're going to have to fit in that schedule, if it affects how teams keep the momentum.
And to be honest, with just speaking with the teams that get a little complacent, that's what it felt like. And I was like, surely this isn't just a kind of like butthurt Big 12 fan that we finally sneak in and then we're getting disrespected with honestly, Michigan is the only team that I heard in the playoffs in Georgia, Ohio State. I never heard any smack talk, but hearing multiple Michigan people, you think with Jim Harbaugh as your coach and him as disciplined as he has them, going about, going, what conference are they in? Acting like they don't know who your opponent is, and then the 3-3-5 comment, and then you lose. That makes you look like a fucking idiot, to be honest. It shows kind of the lack of discipline that you have, that you're gonna just fake acknowledge that you, or not acknowledge that you know what your opponent's conferences and everything else. Hey, I get it. You're big bad Michigan and you're TCU. But I mean, TCU has won national championships in the past. If TCU wins a national championship next week, they have tied Michigan for the total number of national championships. So maybe get the disrespect out of your mouth and actually do something in the playoffs or in the postseason in general before you start talking like, I don't know what conference you're in. I don't know. That rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not even a TCU fan. It's just like, you're in the highest point of your season, and you can't recognize a team that has only lost one game by 3 points in overtime. I mean, sure, you see the result. I don't know. I would think in the playoffs going forward, people will respect their opponents, but
well, yeah, and then there's not only that, but it's not like TCU hasn't proven themselves this year. I mean, their only loss is a last minute, field goal to Kansas State, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they haven't played their entire schedule, won every single game in a very, very good conference. Yeah, I I've said it multiple times to people that I think Michigan has the second worst fans in the world behind Nebraska. There's a huge gap there, but yeah, I haven't met a lot of very pleasant Michigan fans. Just look at Dave Portnoy, douchebag.
He's every single one of them. Just every single one's got the Portnoy side. No, I don't know.
I hate stereotyping, but yep, it's Portnoy.
I don't know too many Michigan fans, thankfully, so I don't know. The few that I do are all right. They're reasonable, not that level of delusion.
Right.
So
yeah, I know. I'm just nitpicking here, but I don't know where the disrespect for TCU came from, and I didn't realize it was their coach's first year. I know we've done this podcast all freaking season, but I didn't realize it was his first year. That's even fucking cooler. Like it's just a great story with TCU.
No, it definitely is. So, if they lose, it's like, no offense, no one thought you were going to be there this year. If they win, best story of the college football season.
Yep, and we got Max Duggan, Iowa native.
Yes, sir. Give me a second here, because I have a stat that is absolutely bonkers. Speaking of Max Duggan, Iowa native.
Yep.
So Michigan has been playing football for 133 years. They've only played a bowl game in Arizona twice. Both times they have lost to a quarterback from Council Bluffs, Iowa, who played for Jim Duggan and wore number 15. One was in 2013 when they lost to Jake Waters in the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl versus Kansas State. And then the other was this Saturday when they lost to Max and TCU.
Wow.
How very specific.
Wow. I wish I would have known that beforehand. That would have... I wonder if anyone knew that and it swayed their bets. That's crazy.
I'll be honest. I read something like that. If they go in the third, if they would have said it could be the second time with Mac, I would have put an irresponsible amount of money just because that's just how those stats read. It's just very specific down the line. Yeah, 2-0 now. It's like Iowa State 2-0 versus Hall of Famers in their debut, 0-3 versus everyone else.
Yep. So if anyone isn't from Iowa and listening to this or doesn't know, Council Bluffs is only a town of 62,000 people. I mean, it's not a massive metropolis. Yes, it's right next to Omaha, but still, that's not a lot of big-time quarterbacks coming out of there. So,
and they both happen to be coached by Max's dad. That's even funnier.
Shit. That's like winning the Mega Millions. Speaking of, is that still going?
Oh God, I don't look at that until it gets $1 billion. Not worth my time if it's only $230 million.
Well, last I knew it was up to $785 million.
Shit, I'm gonna have to.
Oh, it's tonight. Oh, fuck! The drawing just happened 5 minutes ago.
Well, I guess we're not going to be millionaires, Joey. We're gonna have to keep building this podcast up.
Man, you know how huge this podcast would be? I'd get us Super Bowl passes.
Hell yeah. There we go. I'd be buying some interviews, that's for damn sure. But
exactly.
Well, we had some other good games going into the weekend. Orange Bowl. You called it. Tennessee just beat the shit out of Clemson 31-17. That Joe Milton looked pretty good. I would say, I think just giving them a month to prepare. We know Clemson wasn't they weren't the Clemson of old with Trevor Lawrence and a quarterback to take it away. I thought that Klubnik would. Excuse me. But again, freshman in I believe it was his first start, struggled a bit. Tennessee, a little, if I were them, I would feel disrespected. You have a slight rough end of the year, and everyone just writes you off like that. So good on them in the clash of the two orangest teams playing in the Orange Bowl. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. They were doing all the pregame stuff and talk about the different shades, and then they brought in the oranges and stuff like that. It was a pretty cool game. I did watch most of that game, actually, and just like with McCarthy, I think that Klubnik is going to be good. Tennessee, I mean, there was a reason they were ranked, 1 or 2, depending on which poll you were looking at for a while there. They're really fucking good. Joe Milton was the starter at the beginning of the season, so he's no slouch. He just wasn't Hendon Hooker, sorry. But yeah, give me a Tennessee team over Clemson all the time, and I'm just not a big, huge Dabo fan to begin with. It seems to be he makes everything about himself or something else instead of the players. So I don't really like Dabo.
What did you think when you heard Dabo's comments about he's always built his program on NIL?
What did he say? Sorry.
He talked about how he's always built his program on NIL. He's built everything in I mean, everyone thinks NIL and the money portion, but he's
Mhm.
built that program on God's name, image, and likeness. In case anyone is listening, Joey rolled his eyes all the way to the back of his head.
I pulled the fucking Undertaker in. God damn it. Yeah, I mean, that just feeds into exactly what the fuck I was talking about. I'm surprised he didn't do some NIL, NIV, New International Version Bible, some bullshit that he normally does.
I'm surprised he hasn't asked him to change the name to the Clemson Swinnies, Everything is about him. Like, it used to be they'd run as a team down once they touch Howard's Rock, and now it's just him running like 20 yards in front of everyone. And I get he's going to say it so he's out there and he's high-fiving everyone, but it's like, so why aren't you just down there and then the team runs to you? It's very, very Dabo. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, at least he's not yelling at people for lightly touching him on the chest to hold on a second.
One comment I will be positive with Jim Harbaugh. Someone goes, "Hey, you can't go out there." He goes, "Oh, okay." Like a normal person, not screaming, quote, "Get out of my fucking face, you motherfucker!" Like Sark is. Fucking booze bag fell off the wagon again. God, I hate Sark so much. And that little snippet is, and this is not even just college football. That's just life. Everyone knows that what your character is when no one's watching. Except you got to realize there's cameras all over you. And I know some people think it's like, well, he's just hyped for the game and he's hyping his players up. If I saw my coach or some leader that was screaming in someone that isn't making enough to deal with that, is screaming in their face because they're doing their job, I would go, what an asshole. Like, I wouldn't be like motivated by that. I would be looking like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Well, yeah, it sounds to me like there's some major anger issues down there in Austin. Do they not have a psych, division of their college and stuff that they can send these coaches to and get evaluated and shit?
They better start getting some therapists out there, because between booze bag and wife beater and that softball coach that he got ejected and just started flipping off the crowd. I mean, that's what you expect at Austin. That's the type of character you have.
I have been watching a lot of Eastbound and Down, so the softball coach getting kicked out and flipping the crowd off, that's some Kenny Powers shit right there. I love that.
Yeah. Except you're not as cool as Kenny Powers. You're just some dipshit that flips off a crowd because you can't control your emotions.
Horns down, baby. Horns down.
Horns fucking all the way down. Get to the SEC and quit dragging down the Big 12's record. Jesus.
There's that too.
Sugar Bowl. Alabama 45, Kansas State 20. I would like to stick up for the Wildcats, but I mean, I think we all expected this. Once Bama was like, we're going to prove something and we're going to be full strength, I was like, I wish they would have had some opt-outs to give Kansas State a chance here.
Yep. And I mean, I love Saban pushing the, no, they didn't opt out. They stayed here and made a commitment to their team, feeding all the way into that old adage of just loyalty, pay me more, don't pay the players, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. Nick Saban, he's not my generation, so we aren't going to see eye to eye on a whole lot of things, but he's the greatest coach of all time, so I'm not going to shit on him too much.
Greatest coach, and get honestly, we make fun of him because it's one of the few times this year where he's crying to try and get into the playoffs and making comments after the game saying, well, we should have been in the playoffs, blah, blah. Quality of team. It's like, well, the team that you think you should have snuck in over, first off, did they play Georgia?
Nope.
They? Yeah, so they didn't beat. It's like you lost to LSU, who got destroyed by Georgia. You lost to Tennessee, who got destroyed by Georgia. So we already know if you're going to use this transitive power that you beat a team that beat a team, two teams in the playoff. It just, I hate it. It's one of the little whiny things. Like, sorry for the second time in the 9-year history you didn't make the playoffs. Just go fuck yourself, man. But anyway, Bama full strength, no shit. They beat Kansas by 25 points. Still a solid season by Kansas State. Early in the year we talked about they had to have a perfect season, everything to go right, and they started with Adrian Martinez. They found their quarterback of the future in Will Howard. Their defense played spectacularly. They played the way they needed to get to the Sugar Bowl. It wasn't the greatest taste at the end of the season, but your star player, Deuce Vaughn, didn't get injured while he was trying to play in that game for you. I mean, nothing. I mean, you can hang your hat on this season.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, your Big 12 champs.
Yep.
You took down TCU, who could eventually be, the national champion here next week. So yeah. I mean, it's a good season. For any team would love to have that season, and for Kansas State especially. I mean, I doubt they were picked to, be, the Big 12 champs or anything. So yeah, good on them.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess when Iowa State goes to New York Six Bowls, we just beat them though. We win our New York Six games. So
how many you been to?
Hey, 1-0, baby. That's a 100% win percentage. I don't know if you know, Joey. That's very good.
That's what I've been told. That it's always good to win your games.
Also, my sophomore year of JV baseball, I batted 1,000 because I went 1 for 1. But I get to say I batted 1,000 the rest of my life. So on a broken leg, but
exactly.
Who's counting?
I mean, technically, I'm undefeated as a wrestling coach, so there's that.
There we go. Exactly. You're coaching 1,000 over there, Joey. So good job.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about Cotton Bowl first because I didn't really watch this game too much, and we'll end with the Rose Bowl here. But Tulane upsetting USC 46-45 in a crazy event where I think they're down. Was it 15 in the last
something like that?
4 minutes? Get a touchdown. They get a safety. Then they get that kick returner fumbled it and kicked it out of the one. I mean, that's what led to the safety, but just a crazy amount of activity. In a million years, you could have said what group of 5 schools going to win a New York Six Bowl, and we'd have all said Cincinnati. USC or UCF, Houston. We would have guessed the ones going to the Big 12. And shit, man, Tulane had a hell of a year, and my one big comment on this game, a couple things. One, Oklahoma fans are so happy about USC losing. It's kind of a little cringe. I'm going to let them have their moment, but it's like, dude, he left, and you're kind of mad because you went 6-7 this year with your coach that was supposed to replace him and do well, and then Lincoln's in a New York Six Bowl. But tell me if you've heard this before, Joey. He gets a big lead in a huge game and then pisses it down his leg.
Yeah, he has the best quarterback in the nation, wins the Heisman, and they still lose in the bowl season. So, yeah.
That's the other thing. Quit having the Heisman before bowl season and quit voting early, because we're starting to see more and more of this Caleb Williams that he can try and do the media excuse early in the year when he retweeted a video of Max Duggan going LOL and then trying to backtrack saying, well, this is actually me showing the contrast to how when I cried out there, how the media treated me. And it's like, well, because you put on your fingertips, fuck Utah, and then you lost to him for a second time, and then you're crying for a second time, and then you don't want to take accountability. And the same thing in this game. It didn't really get a lot of attention in the media, but he had a spot set up because, like every big game, they interviewed the quarterback. I mean, every time Iowa won or lost, Spencer Petras was always out there, which I always respected. Brian Ferentz never would, coward. But you always have the quarterback out there. You always have the couple big playmakers. And Caleb Williams' name was on there. He was set to do post-game interviews, and then they pulled his name last second, and he didn't interview after a loss. It's like, you should have to give up your Heisman if you're going to be such a fucking crybaby pee pants and you can't take accountability. And you can always interview and you're all smiles after a game when you win. And hey, all attention on me, 450 yards, 5 touchdowns, I'm the greatest. But then when you lose a game, you should have that same mentality of talking to the media and being, hey, we lost this one. We played hard. We're going to get back out there tough. Obviously, you can give canned answers, and that's not going to get as much publicity as you just completely disregarding the media. I will always, we had a big argument a couple months ago on the pod about athletes and being available for media afterwards and the whole mental health thing. You can't have it both ways. You either have to be never available for the media, and you can't gloat when you win, but you cannot, all smiles, happy when we win, and then when you lose, you cower. No, that's bullshit. That's not what a Heisman winner does. A Heisman winner's out there all the time. That's where, honestly, Max Duggan deserves it. The last half of the season where he is putting everything on the line, crying, he's addressing media, he's doing, the interviews, about the good and the bad. You see the emotion he has and the class that he has. Caleb Williams is classless. I guess that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that take for sure. It definitely came off as, like you said, crybaby pants, or just, super immature. Back next year, he's only a sophomore, and shit, he's only 20 years old. So hopefully he can grow out of that and mature into a more well-rounded individual, and realizes what he's saying is going to be seen by a lot of other people, and they are going to make criticisms and other things about him. So it's there aren't any other issues other than, you said fuck Utah on your fingernails. Like, come on, man. But for the game itself, everyone knows that I was, a UCLA dick rider this year. I thought they were a better team coming out of Los Angeles. I was disappointed to see them lose to USC. But from the very beginning of the year, when USC, I think they played Utah like the third or fourth week of the season, I was like, man, USC's kind of soft. And then they showed it again in Utah. And then they can't close out this game against Tulane. Like, I would not have bet on Tulane to win that game, but I would have definitely bet on them to keep it close. And actually, I should have. But I really, really just don't think. And you can bring this back all the way to when Lincoln Riley was in Oklahoma. No, you can't ever really say that his teams were, they're going to stand up well with the smash mouth football, or the different type of teams they're going to come at you. And, when they come down to tight games and stuff, they don't always win. So they're never a lock to win these games. So I just think that there's something going on with Lincoln Riley's, the way he gets his team ready and stuff. And shit, we could say that about everyone again, because it's bowl season. So there's that.
If Max Duggan or CJ Stroud or Stetson Bennett won the Heisman, would Caleb Williams have just walked out of the ceremony since he can't handle defeat?
I don't know. I haven't seen you this worked up in a minute.
I would say I just absolutely hate. He can take all the praise in the world. Hey, me, I'm the reason we won. I mean, he has nothing to be upset about. 462 yards, 5 touchdowns, an interception. I mean, like, why are you hiding? I just will never get that for the life of me, man.
Right. Yeah, I don't either. And even if you did have to sit in front of the media and be like, they ask you, why you guys lost and stuff, it's not on you. Like you said, you read his stats. Like, he had an amazing fucking game. So it's not on him that they lost. But yeah, if he can't, I don't know, he's obviously not mature enough to handle the media. And that's fine. Then don't get in there, like you said, don't get in there when things are all roses for you.
Yep. Wow, what a great transition, like you're a professional, Joey. Speaking of roses, the Rose Bowl.
Hell yes.
Penn State 35, Utah 21. Sean Clifford going out the right way, which is pretty cool. I would say, honestly, by the time I was watching it, Penn State had already dominated Utah. Cam Rising sucks. Second Rose Bowl in a year, or in 2 years back to back, where he's gotten injured in the game. It was his left knee again. But what are your thoughts on Penn State this year?
Penn State is definitely a top 10 team. I mean, they've only lost to Ohio State and Michigan. Both were in the college football playoff. They're a very, very good fucking team. James Franklin always has sound teams, and they're always willing to punch you in the mouth. And that's how they keep it close when they're playing in that East. But they haven't had the big stars to carry them over, like like Michigan and Ohio State and stuff so far. So we'll see what happens with them next year. I was very impressed for them. I really, really liked this Utah team. I did not think it was going to be a 14-point win. I really, really thought Utah would play them a lot closer, and I may have even picked Utah last week, and I have to go and look. But I do like the way this Utah team plays. I hope that they have a lot of people coming back next year. I have not, hand up, I have not paid attention to their transfers or their recruiting or anything. They're, neither here nor there, but I will watch them next year in Pac-12 after dark. So yeah, give me the Utes all day, baby. Shout out to Jamal Anderson and the Dirty Bird.
Dave said same thing. I got to quit believing in Utah. I said they would win by 10. I mean, like you said, you just get some weird feelings about some teams. It's like none of us are Utah fans or Pac-12 fans in general, and we're just going, yeah, Utah. They're it's that Whittingham. It's got to be something to that extent,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So. But yeah, like I said, we'll break down the last football game of the year on Sunday here, and as we kind of transition into a little basketball here. So a couple stories here, Joey. I know Iowa's been on a bit of a skid here. They're 8-6 right now, last place in the Big Ten here. 0-3 to start Big Ten play, which Nebraska ball was a shocking loss. Who was their? I believe they lost to Penn State, right?
Yep. Yeah, at one point they were down by almost 20 last night and ended up only losing by 4 with a chance to go ahead, and Perkins just missed the shot. So there's that.
So I mean, I'm just a little shocked. And again, there's been a couple injuries that have gone on, but that's why it didn't happen recently. But when you guys lost to at TCU, which is a good loss right now. I mean, TCU's stellar in basketball. At Duke, beating Iowa State, I was going, this Iowa team, this might legit be a different story. And then 0-3 with losses to Wisconsin and at the road at Nebraska and Penn State. 0-3 to start. You got number 15 Indiana on a Thursday here. And then you losses on the court in the actual game, but you lost Patrick McCaffrey for a few games. He's sitting out due to anxiety. That got released a couple hours before we started recording here.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I mean, he is a Division I athlete. There's a lot of shit that gets put on their plate. And for any of you fucking idiots that are going to come out, well, he's the coach's son, he gets special privileges. That has never been the case with Fran McCaffrey. He's went out of his way to let it be known that his sons get no special treatment. So, and you can ask the other players on the team. So I'm sure this weighs on him a lot for a lot of different reasons. Good for him for realizing what's going on and taking the time and, being able to come to the plate and say, yeah, I'm having issues and I need to, step away for a little bit. Hopefully he comes back better than ever, gets his head clear, and, things start falling in line for him.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like he's playing and he's averaging 2 points, 2 rebounds, but he's the coach's son. It's like he's averaging just shy 13 points a game. He's a solid contributor to it, and probably a lot of his anxiety is because he's probably feeling with the, Chris Murray or with the slow start. Maybe he's starting to feel like this is on me because, I've been training for this moment. So again, hope the best for him, man. Hopefully it is only that, he mentions 2-4 games indefinite. Hopefully it is only a couple game down for him. He can get back to it, but I'd say it's going to be an uphill battle for Iowa, dude. I know Chris Murray can score all the points in the world, but if you don't have any of that defense to stop, anyone in the Big Ten, it doesn't matter how, if they're a typically lower scoring. I'll be honest, I'm speaking out of my ass with Nebraska and Penn State. I haven't watched any of their basketball games, but I just know in the game where they played Iowa State, if you could play that game every time where you're getting some solid stops on defense, and you don't have to go fucking ham like you did in that game where you couldn't miss a shot. But I mean, that is a little worrisome that it started off this slow and the personnel issues, I guess, leading into it with injury in this now.
Yeah, I mean, they're still putting up good points. I mean, their lowest output of the season, it looks like, never mind, 50 at Nebraska. But then the next game they bounce back and they put up 79 against Penn State. I mean, it looks like the offense is there, but you're right. It doesn't feel like they have a true big in the middle. I know Rebraca is putting up most of the points and stuff. And as you mentioned, I haven't watched a lot of Big Ten basketball yet. Obviously, football has dominated most of my attention and then work on top of it. So looking forward to jumping into the rest of the season. But as always, with every Fran team, even if they are, a dumpster fire and the worst team that you can even watch, they somehow still play close with these top 15 opponents. So don't sleep on them on 1-5, so Thursday night. Don't be surprised if they come away with a win at Indiana. At home versus Indiana. So there's there's magic at Carver with all those blue hairs that'll show up. Watch them.
I'm gonna trust you on that one, bud.
No, and that's why it's just knowing Fran's background and his history. He does a very good job of getting his team ready for games. So we'll go from there.
We're good. We'll jump to Iowa State here. Iowa State right now 10-2, tied for first in the Big 12 because they haven't played any games just yet. They are 1-0 in the conference with a good win versus Baylor. Now, they hit 10 threes in the game. So, I mean, you're going to win a lot of those games, especially with the defense that Iowa State puts out there. But, I mean, they finally, it seems, with Lipsy that they've got, I mean, they seem to have kind of solved a little bit of their offensive woes. Now, Jazz Kuntz is out for a bit with a broken thumb, so that's a bit concerning. we were okay this last week versus Baylor, but now we got 2 tough road games. We got to play at Oklahoma tomorrow night on Wednesday, or tonight if you're listening to the pod, and then they got to play number 15 TCU on the 7th on Saturday. I mean, those are going to be 2 tough games, both of them. I mean, I don't know if you keep up with Ken Palm at all, Joey, but right now,
not yet.
For the strength of schedule that's left in the season, all 10 Big 12 teams are at the top 10. They're just in different orders because that's how tough the Big 12 is right now. So, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if we go 0-2 here in these next 2 games, because Iowa State is really the Jekyll and Hyde of which offense is going to show up. And typically the defense is there, but there have been a couple, the Iowa game, for example, where the defense just completely, they didn't show up early enough in the game, and we're not an offensive powerhouse like Iowa where you can get 3 threes in a row and you're right back in a game. It takes us, 7-10 minutes to build back from that type of a drought.
Oh yeah, and I mean, there's been Iowa teams before where they'll go 15 minutes in between field goals. So yeah, I get that. I mean, Iowa just did it a few games ago against Nebraska. They had
that's
3 points in the first 25.
That's what happened versus Baylor too. So we got a little lucky. They went. Baylor's very good offensively, and they went 8 minutes without scoring. So and Iowa State did that in the Iowa game earlier this year, and I've seen that in years past where just minutes and those are such dragging on because you have media timeouts, you got everything up, and it's like I haven't seen a score in 45 real life minutes going on.
Right.
What the fuck is going on? So
right.
I don't know. I'm feeling pretty confident with them. I would say, ironically, we've got a couple players like Lipsy that's coming back here because Tyrese Hunter transferred out. So I mean, I think the best way I heard it said is Tyrese Hunter has a higher ceiling, but Iowa State basketball might be better because we've had to recruit and get people around to replace said great player. So. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the season here, man. I know Big 12 is going to be tough. If we get 8 wins in Big 12 or go 500, I'm 100% fine with it.
Right.
Big 12, we know the 2 losses isn't going to last forever unless you're freaking Kansas with all the talent in the world. But we go 500 in Big 12 play, I'm 100% fine with it. Yeah,
I mean, if you get in the top half of the second best conference in the nation, you should make the tournament just fine.
I'm going to let you have that one so we can wrap it up under an hour here, Joey. So,
Thank you.
Unless you got anything, I mean, I think we just hit them with the socials and when we get out of here, man.
I do have one thing. If you are a wrestling fan and the over the Christmas tournaments just got done, there are some new rankings out for the Southern Scuffle and the Soldier Salute and the Midlands. They were all this last couple weeks. Go ahead and check out the new rankings and stuff, and we will get you some information on when our next Combat Sports podcast is. We got to get some scheduling done with that, but we'll cover more things that way. But if you really want to get your blood flowing, check out the ending of the Spencer Lee Drake Ayala match where he stares him down. Man, that shit'll get you going. And for those of you that are wondering, why was there so much, shit being pushed onto me, or I'm trying to phrase it without giving it away. Why was there so much heat between the two? It's because Drake Ayala decided, I don't want a double forfeit. I want to wrestle this match. And Spencer Lee just, took it to him. I mean, everyone knows that he pinned him already, but check out that ending. That'll get you going for wrestling season, baby.
I'm going to make a bold prediction that in the rankings, Penn State's 1 and Iowa's 2. Yeah.
Yes, that is true. That is very true.
But you have to find out who's 3 and beyond.
Yep. There's that. And then, check out the individual rankings. There were some upsets I heard of the scuffle. But, there is other things I want to touch on our first Combat Sports podcast. But, like Brian said, we'll get us out of here in under an hour. Check us out. Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, at Heartland Pulse. Find us on Facebook and YouTube. Just search Pulse of the Heartland and In the Zone Media, inthezone.studio. There. You can find all our shit there.
59 minutes, 45 seconds. Damn, we're good here. So
fuck yes. Now I'm just going to hum to you for the last 9 seconds.
Oh, no. We're getting the fuck out of here. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Listening, and we'll catch you next week.